Disclaimer: this video is only for entertainment purpose. The bedroom smelled faintly of polished wood and coffee. The floor-to-ceiling windows painted the table in the soft afternoon light, but the atmosphere was anything but warm. Across from me, Jungkook, my CEO, my boss, my husband, sat in his usual place at the head of the table, black suit, sharp enough to cut. You are pushing for a 35% share in the marketing rights. They will walk out before they even considered it, he said without looking up. I clicked my pen once, twice before forcing myself to set it down. They will walk out if we make it easy for them. 35% is, and we need it unless you are fine with bleeding profit to keep them happy. That earned me a glance, not a long one, but enough to make my pulse hitch. You have always had a taste for risky moves, Ryan. I kept my face neutral, even as his words lingered longer than they should have. I call it strategy. A faint hum of conservation moved around us from other executive, but it was background noise compared to the silent push and pull between us. I could read him too well, the way his jaw shifted when he was calculated, the faint tap of his thumb against the table when he was deciding whether to challenge me or give me exactly what I wanted. He leaned back in his chair. Fine, you will lead negotiations, but if it fails, you will make sure the quarterly meeting is memorable. I cut my lips, twitching. The corner of his mouth lifted, barely. Something like that. The meeting wrapped soon after people shuffled out with their laptops and coffee cups, none of them suspecting the truth. No one ever did. John Corporation no fraternization policy was front-led. His policy, he had been the one to enforce it from day one, a safeguard against gossip and internal drama to the office. Jungkook was my CEO, and I was just another employee. We kept it that way because he wanted it that way. When the last person left, I started gathering my notes. I did not have to look up to feel him moving closer, the air shifting in quiet warning. His hand brushed the back of my chair as he passed, deliberate enough to send a pulse of heat down my spine. Let's go, he said simply. No, let's go to my office. Not let's review the numbers, just let's go. I slipped my folder into my bag, followed him out, heels clicking against marble. The ride down in the private elevator was silent, not awkward, just taut, like every unspoken thing between us was standing in the space we did not dare. The moment the car door shut behind us, the air loosened. He drove with one hand on the wheel, the other tapping lightly against his thigh. City lights blurred past. You were pushing me in there, he said finally. I was making my point. You could have done it without cornering me in front of everyone. I turned my head toward him, and you could have agreed with me from the start, instead of pretending you were going to shut me down. His jaw flexed, but his lips curved faintly. Maybe I like seeing how far you will push me. We did not say anything else until we were inside the penthouse, our penthouse. The door clicked shut behind us, sealing away the outside world. I dropped my bag by the console, toes already aching for the release of my heels. Dinner, I asked, unbuttoning my blazer. In a bit, he said, loosening his tie, watching me in that way that made my skin feel too warm. I stepped closer, brushing past him towards the kitchen. His fingers caught mine for a moment, a conscious, deliberate move before letting go. It was small, barely anything, but it was enough to remind me that behind closed doors, we were not CEO and employee. We settled into the quiet rhythm we had perfected over the months, him chopping vegetables while I stirred the sauce, the sizzle of olive oil filling the kitchen. Jungkook was surprisingly focused cook when he wanted to be. You are cutting them too thick, I said, leaning over the counter to inspect the peppers. He gave me a flat look. Do you want dinner or do you want to argue with me? Can I have both? That earned me the faintest smirk before he slid the cutting board towards me in surrender. Fix it then. We moved around each other easily, shoulders brushing, fingers grazing as I handed him the knife, the occasional bump of his hips when we reached for the same drawer. By the time we plated the plate, the air had shifted from the tautness of the boardroom to something softer, warmer. Dinner was unhurried. We talked about the project, about a new coffee shop that had opened downtown, about absolutely nothing and everything in between. It was a domestic in a way the rest of the world would never see from us. After the dishes were done and lights dimmed, we drifted to the bedroom without a word. Jungkook grabbed his laptop from the nightstand, leaning back against the headboard. Just needed to check one last email, he murmured, eyes already scanning the screen. I slid in beside him, curling up with my knees drawn close. The glow of the laptop painted his jaw in silver light, his attention pulled into whatever urgent corporate matter needed him at almost midnight. After a minute, I reached over and closed the lid with a quiet click. Really? He looked at me, brow lifting. You are not working now, I said, my voice lower, softer. You are with me. His gaze lingered on mine, and I could see the switch happen, the way the sharp CEO edges softened into something far more dangerous for me. You are bossy outside the office too, he murmured. Only with you, I replied. He leaned in slowly, deliberately, giving me every chance to pull back. His hands cupped my jaw, thumb brushing the corner of my mouth before his lips met mine. It was not rushed, it was patient, like he had all the time in the world to taste me to make sure I knew exactly. When he finally pulled back, he rested his forehead against mine. We have an early morning, he said, but his hand was already sliding along my waist. I smiled against his lips. Then don't waste time. The night faded into the kind of closeness that had enough to do with titles or contracts. Only the quiet knowledge that behind closed doors we were allowed to be entirely ours. The next morning, the soft hum of the shower woke me before the alarm did. I lay in bed for a moment, watching the faint grey light seep through the curtains, the scent of his cologne already drifting in from the bathroom. By the time I padded on lazy footsteps, he was toweling his hair, water dripping from his shoulders. You are slow today, he said, glancing at me in the mirror. I was warm, I replied, yawning, as I brushed past him to grab my toothbrush. He dressed in his casual crisp suit, noting his tie while I zipped my pencil skirt in the elevator down to the parking garage. We stood by side, silent in the way that was not awkward, just a quiet understanding that the moment we stepped out, we would put our masks back on. At the office lobby, he walked ahead, his expression shifting back into CEO mode, and I followed at the proper distance, bending back into the role everyone thought I played. And to him, at least here I had to be. The conference room was already half full when I walked in, files tucked under my arm. The delegation from Han and Co had arrived early. Their CEO, Mr. Han Min-sok, was standing near the window, chatting with one of our directors. He was tall, mid-40s. Team leader YN, he greeted, stepping forward to shake my hand. His grip was firm, his eyes lingering just long enough to make me aware of it. I have heard a lot about your work, your proposal for the marketing strategy. Impressive. Thank you, I said, keeping my tone polite but professional. I am glad it caught your attention. It did more than that, he said with a chuckle before gesturing toward the seats. Shall we? The meeting moved quickly. Figures, projections, adjustments. Mr. Hen asked sharp questions, but there was a light in his eyes when I answered, the kind that was not purely business. I ignored it, focusing I'm saying you can't tell me not to meet a client outside the office just because you. I stopped, a slow smile tugging at my lips. Are you jealous? I asked. He gave me a quiet, short laugh. Jealous. He took a step closer. No. Another step. Possessive. Absolutely. I leaned back on my hands, watching him approach. You do realize this is the part where I tell you we are being unreasonable. And this is the part where I stop caring. His hands bracketed my hips, his weight caging me against the mattress. I do not want you alone with him. He is a client. He is a man who looks at you like you are not wearing a wedding ring. Jungkook countered, his voice low. You told me not to wear one at the office. I shot back. His lips curved faintly, and now I am going to make sure you don't forget you have one. Before I could reply, his mouth found my neck, hot, deliberate, lingering. I let out a sharp breath as his teeth grazed the sensitive spot just about my collarbone. Jungkook, shh, he whispered against my skin. I am not done. He trailed slow, open-mouthed kisses along the curve of my neck, then sucked lightly until I knew I would have to hide the mark tomorrow. Now everyone will know, he murmured. Know what? I asked, my voice unsteady. That you are mine. Our banter melted into something quieter, something warmer. His hands cupped my face, and for a moment we just looked at each other. No boardroom, no titles, no rules, just us. The kiss that followed was different, slow, coaxing, as if he wanted to memorize the way I tasted. His fingertips brushed against my jaw, down my throat, and every moment felt like both like a chain and a promise. When we finally broke apart, he rested his forehead against mine. Say you would not meet him alone, he whispered. I shied, but the smile in my voice gave me away. Fine, no meetings outside. His answering grin was quick, boyish, the rare one he saved just for me. Good girl. We settled against each other, his arms around my waist, my head against his chest. The steady beat of his heart under my ear was enough to make my eyes drift shut. The world outside could have its rules, its policies, its secrets, but here, in this moment, we had our own unspoken, understood, and wrapped in the warmth of a kiss, pressed to my hair before sleep. The end. Thank you for watching.